Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'll wait a couple more minutes. Good morning. Good morning. Just waiting a couple more minutes for our next guests. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Zelina here with Acuvida. Thank you so much for joining me today, Tuesday, here on IG Live. This is my own IG Live series, which I have called Conversations to Empower. Different aspects of life that are going to help you feel empowered and uplifted and inspired. I started doing this series about a couple months ago. Just wanted to share information that was going to leave people feeling inspired, uplifted, and empowered. So that's what I'm hoping to do here today. And today's guest will be joining us very shortly. Her name is Mary. Mary is a wellness advocate. She's also an Ayurvedic student. And she's actually putting on together an amazing virtual summit coming up, I think, next week, or in 2 weeks possibly. And so I've asked her to join me today so we can talk all about the summit and also a little bit about her journey into the wellness space. Just waiting for Mary to join us. In the meantime, my cat's in the back chewing some plastic, so hold on one second. Alrighty, I'm back. Sorry about that. And Mary's going to be joining us very soon. Hey, Pokey. All right, here's here. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, this is Conversations to Empower. This is all about sharing information from other wellness providers and healers and wellness advocates such as Mary. We just want to make sure that you guys are all feeling uplifted, inspired, and empowered with all the information to make some educated and informed choices when it comes to healing. So here we have Mary. Good morning, Mary. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Dr. Zelina. How are you? How's everyone?
We're great. It's very cold now. We went from 80 degrees last week to like 40 degrees this week. Wild.
Right?
Wild. Wild. But
I'm
we're well. We're great. How are you guys?
It's that cold.
How are you guys doing?
We're good. You know, the little one is on Zoom, so she's occupied with her homeschooling. Having a good morning.
How old is your little one?
She's 5.
Oh, she's 5. My little one's about to turn 3 in a month. It's
Oh
crazy.
my goodness. Happy
Yeah.
advanced birthday. That's exciting.
Thanks. So, Mary, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, I know that you're an Ayurvedic student.
Yes.
You're a wellness advocate.
Yes.
You had a boutique in the cannabis wellness space, and now you're putting on this amazing virtual summit that's going to be aired in just a couple of weeks, which I'm so excited about. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, me too. Okay, well, let me just tell you a bit about myself. So, as you mentioned, I am a wellness advocate. I'm a student of Ayurveda. I'm actually studying to get my certification as an Ayurveda advisor. And honestly, I haven't been in the wellness space for that long. It's actually been sort of a new journey for me, which started on a very personal level because I was having some health issues. Specifically, I was having a lot of chronic tension headaches. So these were headaches that really just were concentrated in one area of my head. And it would last for hours at a minimum. And sometimes I would wake up and the headaches would still be there. And then I was also experiencing chronic yeast infections while that was happening. And the menstrual cycle was all out of whack. So it was just a lot of things going on in my body that I was living with for quite a while, a few months. And then I was going to my doctors, but they didn't really find anything that, they were able to pinpoint in terms of what was causing it, what was going on. And so I just sort of grew very frustrated and also kind of scared because I didn't really know like how to put my body back into balance. And I didn't even know that concept yet. And so I just started doing my research, and that's how I stumbled upon Ayurveda and their approach to actually listening and connecting with the body in order for myself to even know how to start looking at the symptoms that I was having. And that's what really started my journey into the wellness space, is out of necessity.
Right. That's a very common story with a lot of us providers. Same situation here. I had my own health issues, and I ended up becoming a doctor after all of it.
Right.
But your story is so common with a lot of women and patients and clients that I work with. Is there's a lot of these unexplained symptoms, and they go to their primary care physician and there's no answer for them, and so they leave feeling frustrated, which really ends up giving Western medicine a bad rep, I feel, because even though I went through that also, and I had my frustrating experiences with Western medicine doctors, I do feel that their training is very valuable. And the medicine that they offer is also very valuable. And it just gets like those, like their limitations just get a bad reputation. And a lot of patients and providers end up kind of like, for lack of a better word, hating on them,
Yeah. And I think it's because they're so overworked. We go to our primary care physician for everything, and they're not trained on everything. I mean, the summit has opened my eyes to so much more than I've ever known. And one of those areas is how our doctors are trained. They're not trained in nutrition. They're not trained in the endocannabinoid systems. And these are very important, aspects of our health to be aware of, but they're not. And so it doesn't make sense for us to go to our primary care doctor for everything. And that's why I'm like, part of my mission is to really educate people on what their options are, and not so much to demonize the doctors, but it's all about being aware of what the doctors are good at, so that you can go find another health provider that will actually have, the guidance that you need to start your healing journey.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that, it's so important that everybody understands that there are limitations within the scopes of different medical providers. And I think we've been so conditioned to go to them first that they end up coming to the alternative side last.
Yeah.
Where it should be the other way around. Come to the alternative side first, to the natural medicine, to something that's less invasive and a little more conservative, then, right away, we're going to give you knee surgery, or right away, we're going to put you on these medications and you're going to suffer some side effects, and they're going to create this toxicology situation for your kidneys and your liver. So you're going to have to, do all these things. Whereas, starting off with acupuncture, starting off with herbs, starting off with nutrition, starting off with even, IV hydration, vitamin hydration, all of those things are much less invasive, much more promoting of health versus killing off certain things or cutting off certain things. But like I said, I do feel that Western medicine is absolutely valuable, and just as much as we are, just as much as Eastern medicine and Ayurveda medicine and Chinese medicine and naturopathic medicine, chiropractic medicine, it's all so important.
Right.
So you mentioned that you're an Ayurvedic, you're training to become an Ayurvedic advisor. Is that different than an Ayurvedic practitioner?
There is a difference. An advisor is not so much rooted in terms of giving the actual therapies, like you would go to a practitioner to get an Ayurvedic massage or any other
those oil treatments.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or there's a lot of different Ayurvedic oil treatments where you'll have oil dripping on your third eye or on your sacral chakra area. There's a ton. Advisors don't necessarily do that. That's more for the practitioner. The advisor is more along the lines of actually guiding you through the principles of Ayurveda so that you can actually start to uncover the foods that you should be eating, or we'll go ahead and make a plan for your dinacharya, which is like your routine that you would utilize whenever you wake up or before you would go to bed. And also pinpointing like the roots of imbalances that are going on within your body so that you can start, again, putting everything back into balance and address the root causes as to why you're having those symptoms that you might be having.
Okay, great. So more along the lines of providing counseling, providing coaching, lifestyle medicine, right?
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about lifestyle medicine, because I think that a lot of people are not aware that this is actually a thing. Lifestyle medicine. Are you familiar with the term?
I mean, I haven't heard of the term, but I can venture to guess as to what it is. It's really looking at your lifestyle and seeing how is your lifestyle right now, contributing to some of the symptoms that you might be having and what you can do to fix it. That's what I would guess.
Exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's all about counseling the client or patient on their lifestyle and what activities are promoting their health and what
Yeah,
activities may not be promoting their health, and how they can kind of make small adjustments. And
right.
I do a lot of that work with my patients and clients. I think that a lot of providers in the alternative holistic realm tend to provide this kind of just in hand in hand with their treatments that they do.
Right.
Um, so how long have you been an Ayurvedic advisor? When will you be done?
I'm anticipating to be done next year, like the middle of next year. And then in terms
Okay.
how long I've been doing this for, I started the program of March of this year, so not very long. Um,
Okay.
and really, I'm my first client. that's,
Why did you
that's
choose
the
Ayurveda?
reality. Sorry.
Why did you choose Ayurveda to study?
Well, it worked for me very well. I started really becoming very involved and a student of Ayurveda like late November of last year. And ever since doing that, I kid you not, ever since I started living that lifestyle, I have not had any symptoms at all. Like my yeast infections haven't gone back. I haven't had a tension headache. And I usually would have those at least once a week. Not kidding. I would be in my bed, not feeling very well. Sometimes I wouldn't even make it to work because my head was pounding and it was really painful. And so that's why Ayurveda is very special and near and dear to my heart, because it actually did save me from the reality that I was in. And not only that, but it really provided me the opportunity to get to know myself. I now pay attention to the cycles of my body, how I'm feeling. I know what to do whenever I feel like I'm coming on with like a cold, or if I feel like I'm starting to sense a bit of an imbalance. And then I am now looking at a lot of areas in my life that used to terrify me, like past traumas. I have a therapist. I'm a part of this really great business coaching program, and it's just really opened me up a lot, where I've become a better person, like a kinder person, even because I'm now seeing myself instead of rejecting my body and the all of the imbalances that I was feeling. I realized that nothing was wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with my body. My body's actually functioning at its highest level because it's allowing me to see these symptoms so that I can address it and actually get to a more peaceful state. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yes. As a former lupus patient, I can completely relate, because my body was always giving me signals And I just felt frustrated with my body because I was like, why is it breaking down when I'm only 27 years old?
Right?
What is the problem here? You know,
Yeah. And
I was actually really mad at myself, really mad at my body for a long time. You know, fast forward 12 years into the present, I love my body. I know that it's healthy. I know that it's strong. I know that I'm giving it everything that it needs. I know that we take on whatever we can handle. Like we're given these, you know, lessons and opportunities for growth because that's what we need to do, whether it be a physical manifestation or, you know, just different challenges in life. I
right.
think that mind, body, and spirit are so much connected. And anytime that we disconnect from that idea or that, you know, theory
Yes.
that that we're separate, that's when we begin to have, you know, these maladies where, you know, we don't feel well.
Right.
Um,
And in Ayurveda, they Ayurveda teaches you that you consume everything, not just food, not just the things you drink, but the ideas that you let in, the people that you let into your community, what you see, your thoughts, all that you consume. And that's because mind, body, and spirit are all connected. And that's one of the great things that I love about Ayurveda is because it sees the individual for the individual. It doesn't have this overarching instruction of this is the diet that you should be following at all times, because that's not the truth. We're a part of nature. Nature goes through rhythms, it goes through cycles, right? It
mhm.
has different elements. In Ayurveda, there's air, space, fire, water, and earth. And because we're a part of nature, we also have those five elements within us. And when those elements become imbalanced, that's when we experience symptoms. And you can see the earth also has their, ways
Mhm.
of dealing with imbalances. That's why there's hurricanes. That's why there's like volcanic eruptions. Those are the ways that it's actually pushing and pulling the forces within it so that it can create balance at the end.
Yes, I love that you made that comparison to the earth because we are like small chunks of the earth
Yeah.
and we have different aspects of our body, different parts, anatomical parts of our bodies that are like the earth. You know, our muscles are like the mountains and our heart and our blood is like volcanoes and lava. Like
Mhm.
we have a lot of those comparisons in TCM as well. And that's one of the reasons why I love ancient medicine from India, from China, from, you know, different countries in the East and Asia, and then even traditional medicine from Mexico and different parts of Latin America. It's all very similar.
Right.
And actually, TCM as well as Mexican traditional medicine has exactly the same kind of systems when it comes to women's health and obstetrics and gynecology,
Mhm.
midwifery. It's all the same. You know,
Wow.
we believe that the women have to stay warm. You know, the womb has to stay warm. Um, the women after giving birth need to not get wet, not get cold. They need to stay in a warm, dark place as much as possible. All of those, like all of that postpartum care is very similar in both medicines, which I feel that's probably why it resonates so much with me because that's my lineage.
Yeah.
Um, and my great grandmother was a midwife, so it all absolutely just came full circle for me when I started studying acupuncture. It came so natural.
Right.
Um, so tell us a little bit about you are planning a summit that's going to be coming out in
Yes.
a couple weeks, which I was so honored to be a part of.
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, like I've been following Dr. Will Cole for several years. Him and I actually went to the same school. I didn't know him in school. I think he went before I was there, but he's such an expert when it comes to autoimmune biomarkers and lab values, and I love his reels. I love his posts.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about how that all happened and what drove you to do a summit, because that's not an easy task.
No, it's not, but it's really fun and very rewarding. And it's called Heal Your Chronic Illness and Take Your Life Back: How to Balance Your Mind, Body, and Spirit to Restore Your Health and Vitality. And it's really inspired by my own healing journey. and my want to actually help others on their healing journey. I just realized that there's so much information that, can you guys hear me? You're like
Yep,
frozen. Am I
I
frozen?
can hear you fine. You're
Okay.
not. You were a second ago, but you're fine now. It's
Okay,
all
great.
good.
So I was saying that it was inspired by my own healing journey because it allowed me to see just how much information is not available out there. Um, and for no good reason. And I think that just the more people who can learn about other healing modalities, whether it's Ayurveda, TCM, you know, energy healing, plant medicine, functional medicine, integrative medicine, all that can be so helpful for people to really uncover what can work for them. What can they try? What are new methodologies that they might have had, preconceptions about, but were actually not true? So that was really why I wanted to create the summit, is because I wanted to give people information that can help them take control of their health. Because at the end of the day, it's really us who has the responsibility to get ourselves back into that state of wellness, right? It's not our partner's responsibility. It's not our parents. It's our responsibility. And the earlier that we can take ownership in that, the better it is for our health in the long term. So that's the main purpose as to why I had the summit, is my own personal journey and just my want to share this information with as many people as possible. And also, this isn't just for people who might be going through a chronic illness or autoimmune disease. This is really important information that can just help your long-term health in general, because we're all going to get older, right? Everyone's going to get older because everybody's going to die. That's like the main certainty of life. And when you get older, you're going to come across different imbalances that you'll face as you age. It's just a natural part of life. And so the more you can be connected with your body earlier, the more you can start learning about how your body works, what your body's trying to tell you, the more you'll age gracefully, right? The more you'll really discover different methodologies that you can use as you progress into aging. And so that way it can become a much more balanced and peaceful life. And so the summit is going to start on Sunday, the 15th. It's going to go on for 10 days, and every day we're going to be launching 2 different interviews with different speakers. So you mentioned Dr. Will Cole. He's an amazing speaker. I felt like the whole time that I was talking to him, it was just like different facts and information going around. So when I was editing his video, it was really hard for me to pick out sound bites because there were just so many for me to choose from. But
I'm sure.
it's a whole talk like that. Like, we're gonna have people like you in it. I interviewed you. We're going to have people who are yoga instructors, sound healers, plant medicine researchers. So it's a lot of people from different walks of life who have gone through their own healing journey and are now helping others do the same.
Amazing. I love it. I am so excited about it because I can feel that you're so passionate about sharing this wealth of information when it comes to healing. I think that one of the really cool things about summits and, just sharing information via these wonderful digital platforms that now everybody can really access, is that we'll hear that we've never heard of or we never even knew existed. You know,
Yeah.
we don't even know sometimes what to ask because we don't even think because we've never been exposed to some of these things. And so the thing about this digital age that we're in is ignorance is really a choice at this point because there's so much information out there, especially if you're tech savvy, you have a social media account. There's so much information out there for us. And sometimes it can be overwhelming. But I think when you're able to hear experts speak on the matters, something that resonates with you, if you hear a speaker that talks about something that you've been through or you're
Yeah.
currently going through and they've been through it, it's very inspiring. It's very uplifting. And that's the goal, is to uplift and inspire others to really start healing themselves, because like you said, no one's going to come save us. Not our
No,
partner, not our parents, nobody. We have to save ourselves. We have to do the work for ourselves. We have to really want to be better versions of ourselves for ourselves primarily, but also for the people around us, whether we have children, partners, family, loved ones, friends, people that work for employees, all of that. We really have to make that choice and really have to have that desire to just be better versions of ourselves. And sometimes it starts with the physical health. But like we said, mind, body, and spirit are so intertwined and so connected that once you start kind of dipping and scratching the surface when it comes to the physical health, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, all eventually needs to be addressed and eventually also needs to be healed.
yes.
So tell me, Mary, how can people work with you? I know you're still a student, but will you be providing services in the future?
Yes, actually, after the summit, I'm going to be much more active and vocal about the ways that you can work with me. Um, and I really want to have a focus on mind, body, spirit, because, like we mentioned, it's all connected. And I'm going to continue doing these summits too in the future.
Awesome.
So fun. And it also gives me a chance to really create the community that I've always wanted, especially for someone who's new in the wellness space like I am. Like I said, like I haven't been here for very long, not as long as you have, and definitely not as long as a lot of the speakers that I have in the summit. But it's given me an opportunity to meet so many amazing people, people that I want to surround myself with, and people who I can exchange ideas with, because, Ayurveda is just one of the healing modalities that's around there. But there are so many other approaches that I can learn about. And I'm not really this person who likes to stick with just one and that's it, and then shuts everything else down. I like to learn about, new modalities, whether that's a modern one or an ancient one that's been around for a long, long time, like Ayurveda. Ayurveda has been around for almost over 5,000 years, possibly older. But I like learning about those new things, and I like to share it with other people. I've always been that way. And so a lot of my services that are going to be coming out isn't really just going to be rooted in Ayurveda, but Ayurveda will definitely have a heavy influence in it, because I'm more of an explorer and a sharer when it comes to the types of information. So you can find a lot of the things that I already have out there on my website. You can go on maryvallarta.com, or you can also listen to my podcast. I interview a ton of really amazing people there who are all about living in flow. And that's the whole point of the podcast, is to get inspired by others who have discovered how to live in flow with their true selves and their gifts and their talents, and be able to share that with the world. And really, my whole goal, yes, is wellness and inspiring people to take control of our own health. And the reason why is because I believe that once everyone has that connection to their inner selves, that will be the point when we actually start to make much more heart-centered decisions in the way we deal with others, in the way that we deal with the earth. Because I think that the reason why we're making these decisions that pollute the environment, that harm other people, is because we're so disconnected from ourselves. We're not really connected to that heart space. And so once we get to that point of connection, I believe that we're going to be start making a lot more conscious decisions as a society. So that's why this is really important to me. People's health is important to me, and also just our earth, our nature is very important to me. And I think until we get to that place where we're connected with ourselves, we're not going to learn how to be connected with nature at all.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think that one of the big highlights for me lately has been to realize that we are connected so much to Mother Earth that if she's hurting, we're hurting. And if we're hurting, she's hurting.
She's,
And it's a whole, like, we're not separate from each other. We're like little antenna. And so,
yeah,
you and I were connected. me and everybody else that's on this, that are listening to us right now, we're all connected. We're all part of this grand, you know, planet and this grand universe. And if someone's hurting, we're all hurting. And, you know, it's just like Juneteenth, you know, nobody was free until everybody was free. And
Yes.
it's the same when it comes to, you know, all across the board healing overall, all across the board. We all are connected. I just want to check out some of the comments that we had from commenting, and everything you've been saying has been so amazing. I didn't want to like interrupt.
Yeah.
But let's see here. One party, hi Pogi, said, I had a similar experience, started breaking out in hives and had allergies, couldn't figure it out, chalked it up, quote, oh, it happens, your body changes, but I am 100% sure it was all the years of stress. So I've been working on healing, etc. Last breakout in January 2019. So she's praying.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pokey, I'm with you, girl. We got to keep getting better. We got to keep getting better. We got to keep healing. It's a process that never ends. It's a lifelong journey.
Yeah. And stress will do that to you. Like, stress is definitely a factor when it comes to inflammation. So I think the important thing to note here is that you can't control how stress comes. Like, stress is everywhere, but it's more a matter of how you deal with stress, right? Because that we can control. Point in
Exactly.
trying outside forces. You can only control what's in here. So there's a lot of different, you know, tactics that you can do to control how you deal with stress or to better manage stress. That's shifting perspectives, breath work, you know, yoga. Those are some of the powerful things that I've learned in terms of dealing with stress, and also really figuring out like what emotions come up when you're stressed out, and really asking like what those emotions mean. Why are you scared? Like, you're feeling scared, yes, but then ask yourself, what am I scared of? And
Mm-hmm.
usually what you're scared of is something that has happened a long time ago. And that's where you can start really um, facing some of the traumas that might just be so deep that you've become unconscious of. So just a little tip.
Or becoming mindful of them enough to where you want to change. You want to change that, you know, change that response in your body, because the nervous system is wired a certain way if there is trauma, especially from a very young age, like a child. But as
Mm-hmm.
an adult, you definitely have the choice, you have the capability, and you have the tools to change your response. It takes practice and it takes discipline, but it's definitely possible to get your body out of that stress, fight or flight. I can relate to those headaches. Brutal. Yes. I had concussion about 3 years ago, and prior to that, I never used to have headaches. So I can also relate to headaches. They're awful.
Yeah,
Yes, we get a
they
lot
were
of thumbs
fun.
up and all that. Yes, exactly. All those things. All right. I want to just open up in case anybody has any questions. You're welcome to type those in now before we sign off. But Mary, I want you to give me 1 to 2 tips that you can give our viewers here, our community, on what they can do right now for self-care. That's something that you've been learning in your program. 1 to 2 tips, 1 to 2 tips to deal with either stress or emotions or headaches, because
Yeah,
you have mastered that.
yeah. Well, what has helped me with my headaches is hydration. And it's not just about drinking a ton of water. It's it's
Right.
it's about drinking room temp or warm water, because actually your body has a harder time digesting or breaking down cold water. As Dr. Zelina earlier said, she was talking about keeping the womb warm. Well, it's good to also keep your body warm, because our bodies are warm naturally, right? So when we consume things that are cold, it's actually contributing to dimming down our internal fire, our digestive fire. And when our digestive fire gets weak, then it's causing our bodies to invest a lot more energy to keep that fire going. So that means that your body has a lot less energy to dedicate to things like your immune system, and keeping things in regularity or balanced. So warm water, room temp, is actually a lot easier for your body to break down, to absorb. So that means you won't have to drink as much water as if you were drinking cold water. So that's really helpful when it comes to headache.
And also cold water really
Sorry.
stagnates. Cold water stagnates, or cold anything. It creates a constriction of the flow. Our bodies need warmth in order for things to flow smoothly.
Right.
Right. We have a question. It says,
Okay.
Mary, can you talk more about the yeast infections you were facing? Because that has been happening to me as well. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
All of us.
of
Same
course.
here.
Yeah,
Tell us
girl.
more
I
about
used to get every month. They would go away, and then a week later they would come back.
that.
And it was so frustrating, and it was affecting so much, like my confidence, my sex life, obviously, and that didn't make me feel good. So what I did that really helped is, again, warm water, hot water. That's the first thing I do in the morning. And I actually drink it before I even brush my teeth. And the reason why is because there's actually naturally occurring probiotics in our mouth that build up as we're sleeping. So this was a tip from my Ayurveda doctor. She told me to drink warm water or hot water in the morning, because that will allow the probiotics to travel to my gut. And help.
Question about that before you move on from there. What about for people that do oil pulling? Does the warm water come before the oil pulling?
Yes, the warm water becomes before oil pulling. The oil
Okay.
pulling I would recommend doing after you brush your teeth, because when you're brushing your teeth, you're getting all the bacteria out of your teeth, right? And so when you oil pull, you're just pulling out more of that from your teeth. The bacteria that I'm talking about is in your mouth, not your teeth. So I know it's a little confusing, but that's also why when people are sick in Ayurveda, they don't tend to actually make them brush their teeth as much. Because again, there's naturally occurring bacteria in there that's good for your gut. And the reason why you're having yeast infections is because your immune system is compromised, and your immune system is compromised most likely because of your gut health. So you want to make sure that you're going to strengthen your gut health. And that's one of the things that you can do. Another thing that also has worked for me is to kind of reset my gut. So one of the ways that you can do that is by eating really easy to digest foods. So stop eating processed foods, stop eating a lot of sweets. Sugar actually will feed your yeast infection. So avoid sugar as much as possible. I'm talking about processed sugar. I'm not talking about sugars that are like naturally occurring in sweet potatoes or something, but these are like processed food, processed sugar. So watch out for that and eat for things that are easy for your body to digest. Things like rice or mung dal. In Ayurveda, they'll usually have you eat something so simple like a bowl of dal and rice. And it's so healing, so easy for your body to digest. And what that does is it allows your gut to rest. You know, it's actually conserving energy so that that energy can go back into your immune system. Because now your body doesn't have to use up all that energy breaking down hard to digest food. It's actually giving that energy back to the areas that need it most, if that makes sense. So that's why taking care of your gut is going to be the top things that you can do when you're trying to get rid of your yeast infections. And then obviously, hygiene is very important, right? So doing regular cleansing, wearing cotton underwear, also sleep, make sure that you're handling stress, you know, in a healthy manner, because stress also does wreak havoc on your immune system. So those are, I know you only asked for two, but those are some of the tips that I would
Well,
recommend.
no, that's okay, because somebody had a more specific question. And I just want to add to the part about yeast infections, because I see it in my clinic with my patients all the time. I actually have probably everybody now on the parasite cleanse. And you know, candida and parasites often do go hand in hand. Just a little background: candida and parasites, they all reside in our gut. When too much candida, too much bacteria, too much parasites, it's because, like Mary mentioned, there is a compromise of the immune system. There's also an imbalance of sugars and bacteria in our gut, which can lead to an inflammatory process. So it's really important when you are doing a candida cleanse. The other thing you want to look at is, are you wearing an IUD? Do you use an IUD? Or have you been, you know, is there anything that has been in that region of yours, you know, sex toy, things like that? Always looking at the external as well. And then if all of that stuff can be ruled out, then we have to look at what's and if you're craving sweets all the time, Drayden, it's like candida in your gut. You may also feel itchy. You may have a lot of anxiety, especially at night. So also candida and parasites, they all come out at night today. So don't eat at night, and especially not sugars. So don't eat past 6 o'clock. Fast, drink lots of warm water, like Mary mentioned. And then it is, at least from what I understand and what I've read and the research I've done, it is really important to eliminate all sugar, all of it, even fruits, because the sugars are actually feeding more of the candida, more of the parasites. It's more of what they like, so they're going to keep coming back. If you starve them from the things that they love, they're going to start to die off. And you may experience die-off symptoms, which is feeling like nausea, dizziness, fatigue. And so it's really important when you're doing a candida parasite cleanse. It can be gentle, but you also have to be gentle with yourself. You have to get rest, you know, get your 8 hours, manage your stress, eat well, and avoid the top 3 triggers, which is sugar, alcohol, and dairy. Because those really, really wreak havoc on your gut, especially if you're already suffering from an overgrowth of candida. Drayden's scared. Don't be scared. It's okay. If any of you guys need more support on yeast infections or headaches or anything else, you can definitely reach out to me. You can definitely send Mary a DM and ask about what worked for her specifically. Anything else to share? Is there any last thing you want to leave us with, Mary?
That's a great question. I would say be gentle with yourself, and also make one change at a time, you know, small changes at a time. I think that what ends up happening sometimes when we try to, you know, improve our health is we make so many changes at once, and then we can't like keep those changes going long term because we put so much on ourselves at one time. So pace yourself. It's okay. Do one thing at a time, 2 things at a time. And once you master that, then keep adding as you go. And know that there are going to be times when you fall off the wagon. Again, that's fine. That's totally fine. Healing is not about perfection. It's just about learning about yourself and being okay with where you're at, and stopping to fight your body, and instead really embracing that and knowing that you are worth it. You are worth the healing. You are worth the lifestyle changes. And you are worth just feeling good. And that's it. That's all I have.
I love this. Was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing everything about your journey and sharing your passion with all of us and the world. I feel like you're going to do amazing things, and I know you're just getting started. I really hope that you keep that passion and that drive to share healing and to share information, because we so desperately need it right now. And just as a friendly reminder, if you do want to join the summit, click on the link in her bio, go to her page, and you can register there for the Take Your Life Back Summit, which starts on the 15th, you said? Sunday?
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
So join me and 20 other speakers. We'll see you guys there. And if you guys have any questions for her or I, please send us a DM. Okay, much for joining.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.